that little bit of space allows you to think about certain things. Like I say, I might pray, and the first thing that I do when I pray and I'm out fishing is I just thank God for what's in front of me, the beauty of the earth, the glorious green of our beautiful country, England, the glorious green, the hills, the hedges, the trees, the beautiful trees, just the plants along the water's edge, all doing their thing, all have a purpose, all have a reason for being there, all surviving in a special way. It's just, you are very close to your God when you're at the water's edge, because it is where all life comes to, the water's edge, because water is life without a shadow of a doubt. Myself and my wife, we were foster carers for 20 years, and we foster cared dozens of kids. I think we added it up once, about 55 kids we had through the house, over the 20 years that we did it. And one of the things that really struck home was they all wanted to go fishing. Girls and boys all wanted to go fishing, and they all absolutely loved it. And even the naughtiest of kids that you could possibly ever imagine, all were like little angels when you went fishing. And there's something about fishing, it's a little bit, I suppose, like when you take them to church as well. If the kids, if they're not with their mothers and fathers that don't want them to do it, if they're open to it, we never push religion down the neck or anything like that, but take them to church with us, and they generally enjoyed church and they loved it and they loved fishing. And one of the sort of things that was the same in both areas was the peace and quiet. And also there's this discipline that when you go fishing you have to be quiet. If you're not quiet you won't catch fish, so you have to be quiet, and you have to respect nature, you have to respect the countryside, so you don't make a mess, you don't make a noise, you sit quietly, you concentrate. And also and church is like that, you have to be respectful to other people in the congregation when you're in a service, and you have to behave yourself, and you have to do what's expected of you. And it's a lot of that is nice that teaches the kids a little bit of self-respect, a little bit of understanding for others, understanding for nature, looking after the environment, taking care of the fish that you catch, making sure they go back safe and unhurt, abiding by the rules of the fishery. All this is really, really good stuff for youngsters to bring them up in a nicely disciplined way. It's not hard discipline, it's just self-respect and doing the right thing. So it's always been wonderful like that. And the other thing about fishing that I find, it's a little bit like meditation. And that's a funny thing to say in a way, but when you're fishing, a lot of people think, oh, you go on a riverbank and you're just sitting there by your rod and you're watching a float or listening for a bite alarm or whatever you do, and they think, oh, it's boring, you're doing nothing. Nothing could be further from the truth. If you're a fisherman, you know that that's a complete fallacy, because all the time you are watching how you're doing, you're trying different things, you're trying to trick the fish, you're trying to catch them you're trying different baits, you're trying different hooks, you're trying different floats, you're trying different leads, you're trying all sorts of different things to try and catch that elusive fish. And because of that, because you're doing this all the time, and it's not like, oh, it's a demonic concentration, but it is a concentration, a steady concentration. It's almost like a mantra. Your mind is active, your mind is full. So you're not wandering off thinking about worries of the world, and the kids are not thinking about, I don't want to go to school, and I'm falling out with my mum, and I don't like this and I don't like that. They all just calm, and they have this mantra of fishing, which is trying to catch a fish, trying to catch a fish, trying to catch a fish. And also the setting is beautiful. So you're in an absolutely beautiful place where the water meets the land. And where the water meets the land is one of those places where all living things go. You might look at it in Africa where the wildebeest go to drink in the water. Well, in England, on the bank, you've got water voles. You've got a grass snake that will, because you are sitting for a long time fishing, and you're quiet, even though you're concentrating and even doing stuff, you're not moving a great deal. You're sort of quiet, and that means the animals get used to you and don't feel threatened by you. So you have something like, it might sound awful for some people, it's not for me, but a grass snake will actually crawl over your foot on its way down the bank. Little voles will pop out and look at you. Birds will sit on your fishing rod looking at you. I mean, my friend's even had a kingfisher on the end of his fishing rod. I've never had a kingfisher yet, but I've had robins and other things sitting on my fishing rod, which is a beautiful thing to see. Something you don't see in other parts of your life because you're moving, everything's busy, whereas in fishing you're stable, you're in this meditative state. You see things, you see deer come to the water, you might see otters, you might see herons fishing themselves on the riverbank. You see stuff in nature. So almost sometimes it can, depending upon the place, it can be almost like being in a zoo. It's that busy with wildlife and stuff you just never ever see if you didn't fish. And of course the kids love that as well, and it's stable and it's quiet, and there's this meditation that takes your concentration but also allows you a little bit of space in your thought to wander a little bit. You can't wander too far because you're concentrating on your fishing, but you can do all sorts. If you're religious like me, you can pray, you can say a few prayers. I mean, the first thing that occurs to me when I'm fishing is, like I am here, I'll look around, and first of all, water is life. So you're right next to water, you're next to life. It moves, it shimmers. You'll see fishes in it, you'll see insects on it, you'll be dragonflies coming past you that you'd never see, great big dragonflies. You'll see birds that you don't have time to notice. I've seen a osprey catching a fish and lifting it out of the water. It's an amazing sight, not only to see it, but to actually hear it thud into the water, to splash, to meet the wings, to fly away. Stuff you never, ever, ever would experience if you didn't fish. And that little bit of space allows you to think about certain things. Like I say, I might pray. And the first thing that I do when I pray and I'm out and fishing is I just thank God for what's in front of me. The beauty of the earth, the glorious green of our beautiful country, England, the glorious green, the hills, the hedges, the trees, the beautiful trees, just the plants along the water's edge, all doing their thing, all have a purpose, all have a reason for being there, all surviving in a special way. It's just, you are very close to your God when you're at the water's edge, because it is where all life comes to the water's edge, because water is life without a shadow of a doubt. It sounds odd talking about meditation when you're fishing, and perhaps a lot of fishermen don't feel this, and I think it depends on the type of fishing you do. I think if you're carp fishing, you spend a lot of time, you might have a TV in your tent, you might read a book, might listen to the radio or your iPod or something like that. But when you're busy fishing, when you've got to keep checking that your worm's still there, for instance, and there aren't any things on it that might annoy the fish, like a bit of weed or something like that. When you're doing that sort of thing, that's what I mean about meditation. You're sort of busy in yourself and your mind, and a lot of anglers, I think, will identify with that. Some might not. But it's specific for me, and they do say it's not about catching fish. It's about being there. There's an old saying from an old TV show, and that I used to watch, one of the best ever fishing programs. They say it's all about being there. It's not about catching fish, and it's true. And that meditation is a very calming thing. And also that space that allows you to think, for me as a Christian, is an important space, because it's a stable space. It's a space that's not, it's not a space that's, you don't buzz when you think in that space. That space between the fishing and the free brain power that you've got is a calm space. And I very often think about my faith in that space. And of course, the beauty that you're surrounded with always makes you thankful for your faith and thankful that you've got a God, because if you're like me, you don't consider this to be an accident. This is just too big to be an accident. It's and a coincidence. And yeah, okay, we can have. So you can think about evolution, which I do follow evolution. I'm not an absolute creationist, and I don't hate Charles Darwin, and I do believe in evolution. I do believe it's influenced. I don't believe it's just on its own. I don't think things evolve without an external source. I think God has a hand in it. But when you're here and you see the world and you see the animals, the different creatures, the way they've evolved, their evolution has evolved them, it's just too much of a big deal to be just something that happens over millions of years. It's just too much. And when you've got a strong faith, you can feel God's love and God's presence. You just know that all this is not an accident. Those little things like that, well, they're pretty big things actually, but those things, there's the train of thought that you have when you've got that space between meditation, just that little bit of space. And all of a sudden there's fish, and that's gone, because you've got to try and land this fish that's trying to snap your line. But it allows you that space. All of a sudden you'll think about going to church, say, and you'll think about how relevant is that, and what going to church, what good does that do? And you'll run that through your mind, and you'll run through all sorts of things like that regarding your faith and how you live your life, because it's a safe space to do it. And other people won't do it. Perhaps the people that don't have a lot of faith, or they don't have any faith at all, probably use that space for other things, good things as well. You might think about, you might have had a fallout with your missus, and you might think, oh, that was a bit stupid of me, or a bit stupid of her, and how are you going to put that right, and what you're going to do in the future to make it better. So it's that little calm space, whether you be religious or not, that's useful when you're fishing. But for me, the beauty of the world, the beauty of being next to the water, watching the animals that thrive, survive, evolve, it just underpins my faith in God. It just really does underpin it all completely and strengthens it whilst I'm here.